For the Aussie Gridiron Network. This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Get your asses off the sideline. It's week 9. Let's fucking go.
Higgins, Neighbours, Pacheco coming back.
Just like Taylor Swift, I love a tight end. There you go.
Aussie.
Everyone puts a stake on the end of their hook. It's just no knowledge of fishing. Like, it's fishing 101.
Sometimes less is more, Tay.
NFL.
Great. I love how I'm hanging my hat on Jaleel McLaughlin.
Yeah. Now, Matty's going to fucking love this. I'm taking Courtney son.
Fantasy.
Always finding a hole. Sounding like a Tinder profile again.
Not Gibbs' son, Gibb none. Yeah.
Last against running back and just last in our hearts, really. We just know this team suck balls.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Yeah, didn't think of that one.
It's a moral quandary.
That is a moral quandary.
Yeah, fantasy's awesome. I love it.
Australia's premier NFL fantasy football show is back for our Sunday show in preview for week 9. You're listening to the Aussie Gridiron Network, and this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. They call me Matty C, and with me is the owner of a strange 2 tight end stack from our breakout segment earlier in the week. So it's a good thing he's Australia's finest fantasy football analyst. It's Taylor Goodall. How are you, mate?
Boys, I'm back. I'm very happy to be back with 2 of the biggest Cortland Sutton fans of all time. Yeah, I just can't believe how much Courtney Ward talked about him in the last episode. Just could not stop talking about how much he loves that guy. So, yeah, I can't wait to hear him talk about other players because he just could not get that name out of his mouth.
Yeah, welcome back, Courts.
Oh, we're going to keep talking about Cortland Sutton. It's going to be a short episode.
Couldn't get away from him.
I'm looking for that Michael Jordan meme, and I took that personally to go right in here because, I mean, you were filthy about Cortland Sutton when you were regaling your tales about what it was like to be an owner of him at different times. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he just did me dirty. Obviously, like, you don't mind a player like CMC who's done you dirty because he gets injured. Cortland Sutton was just an abomination last year. And I think I took him like 3rd round or maybe even higher. I was so high. I definitely drank the Kool-Aid and I was just like, oh, my God.
Yeah, this guy. That's a bucket of shit.
Oh, yes.
You're looking at this the wrong way. Taylor says, well, you weren't wrong. You were just early.
Yeah.
That's all. You were in on him last year, and this year he's doing all right. So, yeah, you're just early.
Is he going that well this year, though?
I'm fine.
He will
fine.
He will this week because he's someone's, wide receiver of the week.
I think
he won't be mine. He will not be mine.
We're going to have to talk to Kev about this one too, because he's pretty sure Tim Patrick is the true number 1 in Denver.
That'd be hard, considering he's Detroit.
Oh, okay. So who's the Patrick that's at Denver now?
Troy Franklin.
Troy Franklin. Oh, God. Useless wide receivers with names that sound like accountants. Fantastic. That should be a whole segment. Who's your favorite receiver that sounds like an accountant that's going to have 2 targets? Yeah. Fellas, we have got a bit of a show on today. We're going to dive into the mailbag pretty early on. For those who are looking to catch Taylor talk, you're in the right place, but just rewind the tape a little bit. We got through that one on Friday. We also covered our breakouts. A little bit where some of the banter from this segment here has come from is from the show back on Friday. So if you've missed it, you've done yourself a disservice, give yourself an uppercut, get back and catch that one. Hit pause now and go and do it. Thanks for doing that. I'm glad to have you back. Fellas, I'm going to throw in the mailbag drop and let's go and help some fuckers.
Good.
Where's the mailman? Need some advice?
Would you rather have a small slice of a lovely cake?
Who has the mail?
Or would you rather a huge piece of a dog shit cake?
Thanks to your questions at Pastry Press NFL. And Aussie NFL Fantasy.
I guess this is kind of a shit cake, but it can be a decent cake too.
Well, thanks to your questions at Aussie NFL on Instagram. The first one comes in from the Gotham Grinder, which is just a fantastic handle. The Gotham Grinder. And it is like Grindr, just straight out.
It's a gay bar.
Yeah, there you go. I think this one is actually going to clear up a bit because the question here is, and maybe it's a bit more broad, but what's the deal with New York Giants skill players? Who can I even start? Tay, the running backs have probably cleared himself up this week, but week to week, what's the answer with the 2 running backs they have there? Who do you put your trust in?
Well, the trust is in Ty Tracy, but obviously for this week, because he's in the concussion protocol, you're probably not going to see that. So you're going to get one more week out of any Singletary owners. He's going to be probably the starting back this week, but I don't have any trust in him. I just think the whole team doesn't really have trust in him anymore. So I wouldn't even be surprised if you see some Eric Gray sprinkled in. So
Okay.
I would not trust the running back position at all this week, but post this week, I think Ty Tracy has just completely taken that job. I brought him up a few weeks ago in Taylor Talk, even when Singletary was coming back, saying, I think you can start Tracy even when Singletary's there. I just think he looks the better back. He just looks phenomenal, and he was just given almost everything in the game against Pittsburgh, and he absolutely dominated, 145 yards. I think the guy is just ready to break out. He looks amazing. Former wide receiver, so he's good with his hands in the passing game, but he's just a burner on the ground as well. So this is the kind of guy I think they've been looking for. Skill players, I mean, you start Nabes every single week. He's been a bona fide star. You are not starting Daniel Jones in almost any situation because he sucks. And honestly, Darius Slate has been interesting. I know he's a bit on and off, but he's their deep ball threat. And there's just been a lot of games where they've kind of needed him to make some big plays. And he actually looked probably like their best receiver in that specific game against Pittsburgh. He was easily the one that was making the biggest plays and sort of was trying to get him back into the game. So in a real deep league, I don't have an issue starting Slate. But if you're just in a 10 or a 12 teamer, I think it's just Tracy when he's back, and it's Neighbours, and that's full stop.
Yeah, Neighbours is my boy. I drafted him in a couple of leagues, and I'm very happy that he's part of my rosters. Big fan of Neighbours. No love for Wendell Robinson there, Tay.
What's doing there?
I'll be honest, I had him in 3 leagues, and I actually dropped him for waiver wire pickups in all 3. The problem is he's just kind of quintessential player that, maybe a full PPR is going to get you to what we said about Romeo Dobbs, a 10.2 or something like that. But the problem is he doesn't get fantasy relevant targets. He might have a game where he has 8, 9, 10 catches, but it's for 60 yards, and it's that's fine, but it's just not doing much. It's basically just getting you that 9 to 10 points, and I just don't think that's relevant enough. I would rather be taking shots on guys that I think have opportunities to score touchdowns and have, because he's basically the guy that's not getting the looks in the red zone for a team that barely gets in the red zone. So it's I don't know what the upside is for a guy like Wandale. He had that really good game where he had a shitload of targets against Dallas, but outside of that, I just have never looked at him like he's going to give me a week winning week. And even some of his games where you think he's going okay, in half PPR, he's got 7, 8, 9 points. I don't know. I just have the ick with it. I just don't find it as something that I'm really, really needing on my team.
I mean, in half PPR, that is the Romeo Dobbs game of 8 points, right?
Exactly. Look, it was fine last week. You even said wide receiver 46 last week. It's just, I don't know. It's just something that I feel there's always a chance I've got someone else on my team that I think has higher upside that I'm going to put it on anyway. So it's why use the roster spot?
Yeah, unless you're in a 2 flex league, then I get it. I mean, I just sort of think he's worthwhile hanging on to because, especially while Neighbours was missing as well, he just sort of saw an increased target share. And gosh, as soon as somebody gets their hit to the helmet now, they're very fast to get him checked out, and teams can be very fast to get him into protocols. And once players are in protocols, it's really rare now that a player who's not playing on the Thursday night will then play the next week after they've started getting assessed for concussion protocol. It's just getting rarer and rarer.
Neighbours missed 2 weeks for me in the concussion protocol, and that killed me. But I know they play Washington this week, but Neighbours to the moon next week. They play Carolina. Give me all of the Neighbours stock right
70-point game, 100%.
Oh, my God.
Everybody needs good Davis Courtney.
Yes, bingo.
Bingo. Okay, so that's what we're doing with skill players in New York, Gotham, Grinder. I've only just made the connection now that Gotham is New York. Oh, my God. Okay. It's been a long day. From BK Pato's Bear Club.
Oh, no.
Would you buy low on Corum now before he takes the Rams? Okay, no, moving on. Sorry, Kev. What a dumb question. Next one. Do you want me to read the rest of the question?
Whoa. Who's Kev? I thought it was a handle.
And you see, I can sometimes see behind the curtain there. I know you knew who I lost my head was last week. I know you knew. You didn't say, but I know you knew. Anyway, at Raiders Army 76 says, what the hell do I do with Dak now? now all capitalized. 2 question marks. What do we do with Dak? He was meant to be a top 5 quarterback.
I think he's a buy low opportunity, honestly.
Courtney's like,
it's a real buy
oh
low.
my God, he just looks like he's had his head shoved out the window at 80 k's an hour. It's like, there's a real look of panic and like stress.
And
do you really think, Tay, like he's 20th in quarterback now? Like,
exactly.
How high do you think he can finish the season? Do you reckon he can finish in the top 10 as quarterback?
I want to take everyone to a time machine. And let's go back to around this time last year. And everyone was saying the exact same thing. Everyone was freaked out about CeeDee Lamb. Everyone was freaked out about Dak. No one knew that this passing offense was going to actually move forward. Then all of a sudden, they got this absolutely awesome run of games. That's all that really changed last year. Obviously, McCarthy sort of went to a heavy passing offense, and that obviously helped. But in the end, all that really changed was all of a sudden they got these ridiculously good passing matchups, and they were struggling earlier in the year against better teams. It's actually very similar. They played the Niners around this exact same time. They got boat raced, and then all of a sudden their draw just opened up, and then all of a sudden they were just dominating in the air because of these teams that couldn't actually defend the pass. Like you've got Atlanta this week, terrible against the pass. You've got the Texans in 3 weeks. They're terrible at defending the pass. You've got Washington, they're terrible. Then all of a sudden you've got the Giants, the Bengals, the Panthers, the Bucks. They are all like bottom 4 at defending the fucking pass. Like this is going to turn around for them, I'm telling you. Their team sucks. I'm not saying that this is turning around for Dallas in general. The defense is worse, which in general is actually better for fantasy. So I think you're going to actually see that come to fruition in the second half of the year as well. He's going to get Brandon Cooks back. Look, Brandon Cooks isn't fucking dominating anything, but it is also his wide receiver 2 coming back. So that's also going to help Dak as well. The thing about a buy low is you need people to not think that it's a good decision. So if people out there are sitting there going, you're an idiot, Taylor, then I've done my job. So I'm saying that if anyone out there has Dak and they're completely freaked out and they're almost going to drop him, I'll fucking take him.
So how high does he finish? Do you think he can finish as the top 10 quarterback?
Yep.
Can I ask you something, Tay?
Can we waterbed that?
Well, no, because that's a line that you said, can he finish in the top 10? I'm not saying he is going to finish in the top 10, but I'm saying he can. And the thing is, he doesn't have to finish in the top 10 for this to be a good buy low. If he's at 20 now, finishes 13, then he's probably had a pretty good end of the year. So I'm more saying about if you just took him from now to the end, do I think he's a top 10 quarterback? That I would waterbed.
Oh, you think he'll be a top 10 quarterback over the next
rest of the way?
Weeks? He does have an easier draw, but
that's the point.
But I just think if you work through, like I think Jackson will end up better. Mayfield's going gangbusters. Daniels, Allen, Burrow, Hurts, Kyler. Our boy Bo Nix is on essentially Super Saiyan right now. Yeah, our boy. I'm not a Purdy guy, but you got Geno. You can throw in Lawrence, Cousins, Goff, Stroud's in there. Love's obviously a bit further down. I think Caleb Williams will come on. I know you love Patty Mahomes. You threw him. You said that in the first episode, Tay. You love Patty Mahomes. Yeah. So, and obviously you can't go. I mean, remiss of me not to say Daniel Jones. We all know he's an absolute superstar. So you're running out of names there, Tay.
Yeah. And look, this is the exact same case you could have made last year, and he was fucking balls for like.
Was Dallas this bad? Was Dallas this bad this time last year?
100% in the offensive side. Yes, their defense was better than it was, which, if anything, should have actually hurt Dak CD more. I will give you credit. It is a bit later in the year. I think it was about week 6. Everything turned around last year.
5-6, yeah.
Whereas we're at week 9 this year. But also, his run of awesome passing matchups started earlier. That was really the difference. The Niners game happened earlier. That's seriously what changed everything, and McCarthy went to a high passing offense. I just think that they can't really run the ball. I just think these awesome passing defenses for fantasy purposes is going to make a massive difference in the run home. They're a team that, even though they're frustrating and they're really, like, everyone's kind of happy when they go shit, I do think they're eventually going to turn it around to a point where they're going to end up somewhere near 500. So that means they're probably going to be winning some of these games on the run home.
They're 500 now.
That's what I mean. Like, I think they're going to be fine enough. I don't think they're going to be making the playoffs or winning any games or anything. But I just think moving forward in fantasy, I think Dak, look at Courtney's reaction now. He's wants to punt me off a fucking cliff for even suggesting this. So this is why it's a perfect buy low, because no one is in on Dak right now. This is CD is different. I think CD's the ship sailed on trying to buy him low. That was something you would have had to have done a couple of weeks
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you can't do that now. No.
Our people are out on Dak, so you can't go low on the stack, but you can still buy low on Dak, and I think it's an opportunity.
Can't get the stack, but you can get the Dak.
And you can get a sack whack.
My problem, Tay, and this is why I'm in Courtney's corner.
It's good.
It doesn't get much better than Cleveland, New Orleans, Baltimore, New York Giants in the first 4 weeks. How many weeks in that stretch was he a top 10 quarterback?
None. He would have sucked balls.
He sucked balls. You're now saying he gets a ridiculously good stretch. Nothing's changed. His offensive line hasn't got better. His defense is still pass. There's actually nothing's changed, and he's struggling. He can't even throw to the guy in the same color as him. So this is why I'm in Courtney's corner. And I like that we're opposed here because I think, this is kind of like last year where you're like, I'm not sure that Dallas will have the passing offense because they won't need to. Their defense is so good. They're going to be ahead in games. They run the ball. And then it just kind of turned. And this is where, that could, again, be the case. And then I'll just be wrong this year instead of being the believer. So I kind of like that we've got our camps on this. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops. So this is the one, though, for at Raiders Army 76 is what do you do with Dak? Depends on who you want to listen to. Courtney and I, we're out. Taylor is all in. Go buy him low. Does that sound fair?
What does being out mean for you guys, though? If this person's sitting there and they've got Dak as their starting quarterback, you saying go to the waivers?
No, sell him. Find the dickhead in your league who thinks he's going to just absolutely catch fire and sell him.
Sorry?
Yeah, he's been dropped in a couple of my leagues.
Because at the moment, a guy on waivers will get you as many points as Dak anyway. So why not use that as the way to sell Dak off to get somebody like an improvement somewhere else in your roster? Dak and someone to improve that position. Then you can pick up, I don't know, how many great guys did we just mention? Bo Nix. Go get Bo Nix. Fuck it. He'll double that for the next few weeks.
Can't wait to track this. It's going to be great.
Don't.
How deep a league? Are you starting him in a 16-team league, one quarterback league this week, Tay?
Absolutely.
You have to, yeah.
In a 10-team league?
Only because it's Atlanta, you have to. In a 10-team league, I don't know how you do it.
It's very team specific. If you've got another very good option, I'm not saying
I'm just saying
top 3 quarterback this week or something.
Yeah. Are you starting him over our boy Bo Nix?
I would this week, yeah.
Yep.
I want to see where the line is, where we can find him.
This is going to be a water bet. This is going to be a water bet here.
So are you starting him over? I know you and I have a man crush on Kyler Murray. Are you starting him over Kyler Murray?
Can you remind me of this matchup this week?
He's playing Chicago.
No, I'd play Dak.
Wow. Where are you on that, Matty?
Dak over Kyler. I just think Kyler's going to get flushed out of pockets and runs. And I'd still start Kyler.
He's got a way better matchup, Dak.
And then you've got Jalen Hurts against Jacksonville. I think we can all agree that's going to go ham.
A million.
Joe Burrow against Las Vegas.
Oh, that's a tough line. If Higgins plays, I'd play Burrow. If Higgins doesn't play, I'd play Dak.
I guess everyone can agree that Allen Daniels, Mayfield against Kansas City.
I'd play Dak.
I know that's tough against Kansas City, but I just don't have it. I think I just got no faith in Dak right now.
This is my point. This is why it's a buy low. Like I said, I always say when we do the sell high, buy low, is that if people think it's obvious, then it's not true. It's not a good point to make on a buy low, sell high. If everyone's sitting there agreeing with you, it's like, well, you're not going to be able to make any deals for the people you're talking about. You need it to actually seem like it's crazy, because then it's actually there's actually an ability for me to go out and get Dak, because everyone's just either dropping him or selling him for fucking nothing. So that's me just trying to say I think there's an opportunity here, because the complete public perception of him is shit. So that's why I think...
Only because his performance has been shit. I mean, It's not like his perception shit. He's just been terrible.
Exactly.
He actually has been. He's fulfilled...
That's what a buy low is. You're not buying low on someone that's killing it. That's not...
And Dak's not even turning up to work at the moment.
That's it.
Woo. Okay, so you've now given us that Dak is... where was your line on Burrow? You'd rather have Dak over Burrow playing Las Vegas?
I said if Higgins plays, I would take Burrow.
Because Burrow's currently in projections this week, the number 5 quarterback. So you're saying Dak is a top 5 quarterback this week?
I'm saying that if Burrow has Higgins and Chase, I would start Burrow. If he doesn't have Higgins, I would start Dak.
So a top 6 quarterback?
Sure.
Yeah.
Jesus, Tay. Fuck, and that is an amazing way to be wrong. I love this. Okay, so I think Raiders Army is going to get a bit out of this.
I don't need him to be in the top 6 for this to be a good call. Like you say, is he quarterback 20? He's probably 25 in people's hearts. Like, I don't need him in the top 6 for this to be a good buy low. But I'm saying
it could be a completely shit quarterback week. He scores 13 points, and that's quarterback 6. I get your point. Tay's like, you guys are idiots. I can hear the silence as you guys are idiots.
I don't think you're idiots at all. Like, what you guys are doing is exactly the public perception on here. Like, that's the whole point. It wouldn't be a buy low if you guys agreed.
This is so good.
Well, I get it as well. He's just been so bad this year, Taylor. That's what Matty and I are saying.
I love it. I love that there's this opposition. I love it. It's such good radio when this happens because you clearly, we can't both be right. Like, people are going to either say he's been good from this point or he's not been good from this point. And I love that you've got to have people with different opinions to make fantasy work. If we all like the same 12 guys, no one would, you wouldn't have any of this debate. This is what makes fantasy football fun.
It was a perfect mailbag question to ask, apparently.
That was so good. I've only got one more in there. It's from Cam Oliver Staying 101. I don't know I get that reference, but apparently Cam Oliver Staying. Everyone, quick, let everyone know. Deontay Johnson got traded this week. What does that do to his fantasy value? Like, I think it's probably a good thing for his football life, but does it help him in fantasy, Tate?
No, it really doesn't, because he was the one on his team with an absolute bullet at Carolina. And don't get me wrong, Baltimore's offense is far better than Carolina's. I'm not going to fucking shout that from the rooftops, but in the end, he was just so needed by that Carolina offense that he just got peppered with targets, whether they were good targets. He was obviously better with Dalton. Look, I would probably put it about even that let's say Bryce Young was playing the whole rest of the year. I'd probably put it a slight upgrade to being a Baltimore. But the problem is with Baltimore, you've got Lamar, you've got Derrick Henry. They're going to be at least half the games where they just run the clock out with those two in the second halves. Like, there isn't going to be a lot of volume. You see this with Zay Flowers, all the time. Like, he has a decent game here and there, and then, 2 out of the 3 games is just completely forgotten about because they don't need to pass. They just run the ball so fucking well, this team, and they're just a well-oiled machine. And then it has the same with Mark Andrews. Like, this year, you've seen it. Mark Andrews run the same routes. He actually looks just as good as he's looked the last few years, but he's just not as relevant in fantasy because this team runs the ball so fucking well. So the fact is, Deontay goes into a team that runs the ball so well. He's going to be sharing the wide receiver 1 duties with Flowers. I just don't love it for him. Look, do I think he's got games in him that he could be relevant for this better offense than the Panthers? Yes. But I don't think he's going to be as reliable week to week that you saw in Carolina because he was getting peppered with 8, 9, 10 targets every game, and that's just not going to happen at the Ravens.
Yeah, as a Deontay Johnson owner, I was a little bit worried. Like Tay said, you look at some of those target games. He's had 3 games of double-digit targets.
Yeah.
And he's just not going to get that. But I think just being in a better offense, I think obviously Tay touched on Bryce Young. Dalton obviously was an upgrade, but Bryce Young's going to be reinstated as a quarterback. I just think he's just going to get more looks, and it's just going to be more openings. Like, if it wasn't Johnson getting the ball, there wasn't too many other options at Carolina. But like Tay said, because they have to respect Lamar's running and Henry's running ability, and Zay Flowers they're running around, and whichever tight end they want to do between Likely and Andrews, I just think there's more space. So he might get some other bigger plays. I still think he's going to be good, definitely better in real life. I think this is a great move for him in real life. I'm just hoping he can still produce enough. Obviously, he's just going to be more efficient. He's not going to get the targets. I just think he's going to have to be better with the opportunities he gets.
You could see a lot more 4 for 75s instead of what he was getting at Carolina, where it was 9 for 90 or 9 for 100. You know what I mean? That's the worry is you're looking for that 4 for 75. You're looking for bigger chunk plays in the Ravens than you were at Carolina. It was like 10 a catch at Carolina. You're basically needing him to be like 20 a catch at the Ravens to be as relevant. So that's what worries me, is he's not getting huge junk plays, which you could get. Like, the Ravens are a far better offense. Like, you could not be going more polar opposite in terms of how good the offenses are. But I just think with what he's sharing, you brought up the multiple tight ends they have. Flowers and Bateman. Not a huge guy gets going against him, but he's still there. I just think it's too much target share, and you're going to be relying on big plays.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm in a conundrum then. Like, I've got, for example, Deontay Johnson or Christian Watson. Who would you start this week? Because they're both in very similar conundrums.
That's a hard one this week. Like, moving forward, I still think I'd be taking Johnson. Like, just because there is that ability for big plays. I know Watson's like a big play guy too, but it's just so hard. Like, he doesn't seem to be consistent at all on this Green Bay team. Obviously, this week it's probably going to be Malik Willis too, which I think makes Watson like completely unplayable. So I would probably take a shot at Johnson, that he just comes out week one and just has one massive play.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. Yeah, me too.
I think I would too. And it also depends on your team. If you're a middling team and you just need to try and get a win, you might as well have a shot. Like, I don't think Watson's got a heap of upside. Wow. Okay. So mailbag done. Hopefully that's helped a few folks, especially that last one. Cam Oliver staying 101. Hopefully he will continue to be a factor in some way, shape or form. But in terms of fantasy, might be tougher to get success than he will have in terms of wins and losses on the gridiron for Deontay Johnson. But we'll see. I mean, it does feel a little while ago that he was actually quite a focal point of a Pittsburgh offense. So it's just kind of weird to think the journey he's been on since then.
And great to hear the Cam Oliver staying. It's just great news.
Yeah, I'm going to have to Google that guy up.
Yep, Space Cam.
It is start of the week time, guys. Let's fire this up.
In the beginning, there was nothing, a featureless void. From the formless primordial state, a legend was born when forces combined to create a solid object of significant value. As planets were formed and Earth itself was shaped, the object lay awaiting its destiny. Seas rise and fall, mountains emerge, and upon the highest mountain, an intrepid adventurer happens upon the object. A worthy prize for ascending this to the tallest of peaks. This object has been documented to be held by many of the great dynasties of mankind, from the Persians to the Hans, the Mongols and the Ottomans, lives lost defending it from those who seek to possess it. Now it is in the trust of three wise men, who also reach such pinnacles, to be held by he who imparts the most astute knowledge upon fellow mankind. The winner of the annual Aussie NFL Fantasy Show Starts of the Week.
This is my probably favorite exercise I do every week in my entire life. I love Starts of the Week. We've been running this segment in some way, shape or form for 4 years, and it has just become what it is now. I mean, gosh, we've got just another great opportunity to have a member of the Australian NFL fantasy community join us. And Courtney, are you excited to take part in Starts of the Week?
Let's go.
LFG, baby. LFG. Tay, rough week last week.
Yeah, rough couple of weeks, mate. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I just thought we'd get over quickly.
It's what you do best. But this is basically the segment that just blows up the group chat every single weekend. It's like you forget about your 13 leagues, and then all of a sudden all that matters is Starts of the Week. So I'm looking forward to Courtney being a part of that this week, because, you're always sweating bullets, and your other leagues just don't matter, mate. It's all about Starts of the Week.
Yeah. This is the most public way you can put your chin out there, too. This is the thing, right? Like, you can't hide from your picks.
Yep.
No pressure whatsoever.
Good look.
And you've only got the whole world banking on you, mate. So definitely no pressure.
Mate, you could look like a genius, or you could look like a giant testicle. We'll wait and see.
I think it'll probably be the latter, unfortunately.
You can get tips from that on what that's like from Tay at the moment, because having a look at the leaderboard from last week, the scoring board from last week.
Personal segment.
Tay.
Rico Data went well for you last week.
Yeah, it went real well, mate. Yeah, he was fucking a sick day. What a wanker. Mate, getting that fucking notification 2.5 hours out, mate, it was unbelievable. But here's what it is. 2 weeks in a row that I've fielded 3 out of 4. That just is what it is, mate. I've got to be better, mate. I've got to take a look internally and decide, is this really who I want to be? I've been down 4 points before after 2 weeks, so it was a terrible start. I'm having a terrible middle, but I'm going to finish like Dak Prescott, mate. It's going to be absolute domination.
Crash and burn.
Fantastic. So, Caleb Williams goes and throws up just 9 in what was a tough game.
Oh, my God.
Dowd'll obviously miss, but then, to see Tucker Craft go out and throw up 16 is actually really, really pretty terrific. He is a truck pulling a trailer. You get to 34.5 points, Tay.
Yes.
And God only knows how many Rico Dowdle could have scored you. That's the thing. No one will ever know.
50,000. But Bears stack, Bears never again. They're shit. Fuck you, Kev.
Yeah. How about that? Roma Dunze, he doubled what I said. I'm like, that's a 4-point game waiting to happen. It was an 8-point game. Sorry. I undershot.
Fuck shit.
Jolly O goes and takes only the greatest surname in all of football, Russell Wilson, because Charles Wilson as well. Scores 14 points, not bad. And 5 points from Nick Chubb was probably not what he was hoping for. What was surprising is that Kate Otten only goes and throws up a 29. Oh. Drags his score along to 48. Holy shit. That's not bad considering he didn't have Juwan Jennings who, he took the roll of the dice on that. Yep. We told him what would happen if Juwan Jennings didn't play. He goes, fuck it, I'm staying in the Flames with my 49er, and he ate the donut. But, mate, still 48. That's a really respectable score for running 3 players out. Not bad at all.
Absolutely. That was a great showing by Jolly O.
Proud of his effort there. That's actually really, really pretty good. Tay, do you want to describe who won the segment and how wonderful their team is?
Rather eat my own ass.
Tay's had herpes before and he knows how uncomfortable it is, so I'll hop in and take this chalice from you, Tay. Sam Darnold goes and throws up 17 on the Friday, which was fine. Nothing world beating there. But Madison scored 9, which isn't great. Corn Sutton to the rescue. 17 points. Oh, my gosh.
How many times is that name going to come up?
Oh, spare me.
He's player of the year, that guy. And how about 1% started tight end Will Dissly throwing up a 9? Come on.
Big Montana.
Fucking get a load of that. The third best tight end on the weekend starts of the week. But, mate, he got me home. That was the difference between not getting the 3 points and having to score much more like yours. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about
what the tight end position normally is. It's not normally what it was.
Fucking unbelievable. And 9 points is generally a good week for tight end. So to only be third at tight end with 9 points seems a bit robbery. But so 52.8. So I have a few points over Joel. So if Juwan Jennings goes, he probably wins the segment. Unless Rico Dowdle goes, then Taylor probably wins the segment. So there you go.
Yeah, 4 touchdown hero.
Scoreboard, Tay, 394 points, but 14 competition points. The World, 386 total scoring points and 16 competition points. And Matty C with a nose in front, only 371 in aggregate, but 18 competition points. And, of course, that's got to change this week because someone has to get 3, someone has to get 2, someone has to get 1. That board's about to get messed up. The segment starts with the person who won last week getting to choose the draft order. Oh, it's your boy, Matty C.
Watch him puss out again, Courtney. Watch this.
Of course.
I'm ready.
You know what's going to happen.
I know exactly what's going to happen. He's going to puss out again. He's never, ever put me first, and he thinks he's got some sort of boxing out schedule where he's going to put me last.
Tay, I love how he just thinks he's got the mind map of Matty C down pat because I'm going to give Taylor the first pick.
Oh, what?
Now, I know you're looking at me going, Matty, it's fucking dangerous, mate. What are you doing?
I'm rattled.
It's the other way around. This week, there are so many guys having the first pick, not an advantage. Second, third, fourth, fifth, between you and I, we're going to have 4 players by the time he even gets back for a second. We just got the chance to really scoop this dickhead and keep him at the bottom, yeah? So, team, okay?
So remind me, though, you can't pick Courtney Sutton and those other guys that Tay mentioned in Taylor Talk, right?
Sorry, mate. So your number 1 pick at wide receiver, Courtney Sutton.
Yeah, got to scrub him off.
Yeah.
No,
well, I'm fucking devastated. Fucking wrap the shop now.
Oh, my goodness. Is that the last time we have to hear his name? Or not?
Thank fuck for that.
Let's wrap this segment up now. There's no Courtney Sutton. Fellas that you can't pick, Darnold is out, Algier is out, and Hawkinson is also out by virtue of Taylor Talk rule.
Matty C's just gladly going to take a 0 just out of, respect for Courtney Sutton. He's like, I can't pick anyone else.
100%. He's been my stalwart. I'm just looking at the leaderboard too, Tay, and saying how well this is working. I'm going to start the clock. Tay, you're up. Where are you going first?
It's a funny one. Yeah, I expected you to put me later. I do have someone who I really want, though. But the problem with it is, there's a lot of guys in this position I do like. But this guy just stands out to me because of the game, the change at quarterback. I'm taking Josh Downs. I think he's set up for massive success in this game. Obviously, if it was any chance it was Richardson, I wouldn't even go close to this. I remember Kieran took Josh Downs a couple of weeks ago, and I had a feeling it was Richardson. And I was like, I didn't want. Was it him or was it Benny? I can't remember now.
No, it was definitely Kieran, and he slayed it. He scored a ton of points.
That's right. It was the week that I knew Richardson was starting, and when they took Downs, I was like, I don't like that pick because Richardson is just completely different for Downs than Flacco is. Like I said, I just think the Vikings are going to score plenty of points on the Colts, and I can see this being a shootout-style game, and I trust Flacco in that situation. So, look, I do think there's a lot of good options at wide receiver this week, but I do feel like with that change at quarterback, that Downs just puts himself ahead of those other guys for that reason. So I am going to take him.
Is Downs rostered in less than 50% of leagues?
It's not rostered. It's started.
Damn it.
What? Yeah. Okay. Full disclosure. Everyone comes on here and says that I didn't tell them that. I am going to screenshot every person. I literally say, please don't do it on rostered. Please do it on started.
Oh, well, yeah, all my research is out the window then.
Fucking hell.
You need a minute?
Good.
Do you need a minute to retool?
No, I'll just pick a fucking. I'm sure I'll fucking end up picking Jaleel McLaughlin or something throughout the fucking drive.
Right, just go and pick Bijan. We know he's going to have a good week.
Oh, far out. I don't know. We'll roll with the punches. We're good. We're good. So as much as I would like to lean into Jaleel McLaughlin, I'm going to pick Tank Bigsby from your Jaguars.
Woo!
I just think I'm hoping. I hate to wish injuries on anyone. Yes, I'm very much leaning into Etienne. Got a hammy. Yeah. It's not really an issue. It's not really a injury that you want to rush back from as a skill position player. I'm thinking if he misses another week, I'm going Tank Bigsby.
I also think he's got a role now, no matter what. In a way, Tay was on this last year, so never wrong, just early, right? That he's just proven himself to be useful enough that I think even when Etienne's back, and with a team who aren't playing for like playoff aspirations anymore, probably, so you might as well give the younger guy the run while you're trying to get your star back to their best, because it's not this year, right? So I think he'll just have a role anyway. I don't know that the matchup's fantastic because Philadelphia have been pretty stout against the run, but they're certainly going to want to give it a bash. But Bigsby's also shown he can catch a few balls out of the backfield, and he will be useful that way too. So as long as that volume's there, I just think it's a great call, and I love it.
I said that to you. I think he's still useful even when Etienne's there, because I think Etienne takes over the more of a pass catching. I think that Tank Bigsby still has somewhere between 10 to 15 rushes.
Yeah, and even then he'll get 2-3 catches a week, which is just handy, little cream on top. And he had like 90 yards last week on the ground. So, he's just handy, super handy. Okay, so 35% started Tank Bigsby as well, which is a nice number.
That'll probably go down, I reckon. I think if Etienne starts, that'll go down.
If he does, yeah. And even then, I'm not sure that will make much difference. I still think, Tank's going to end up with so much of the work. But
I'm not saying it's a bad pick.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
that's kind of what I think.
Near 50, it's going the opposite, if anything.
I've got the beautiful opportunity to take, there's no quarterback or tight end gone, so I was thinking I might lean into both. Taylor's got a wide receiver already, and nice to see a running back go straight up, and there's plenty of guys at those positions for me to come back and get. So I'm going to go straight out and take, my quarterback has to be Kirk Cousins against the shite Dallas defense. He's 29% started at the moment. He's also my Astro League quarterback, Kirko Chains. Let's go. And he's been wildly disappointing every time I've started even starts. So this is the time, Kirk. This is the fucking time.
Still against that shit-ass Dallas defense at home. Yeah, I like it. He's definitely on my list. Didn't have him. Well, I didn't really order mine. I just kind of was going through and going, I like that guy this week in the matchup. I didn't really order mine this week, but he was definitely one I was definitely looking at.
Well, Darnold was my top, but Taylor Talk sort of erased him. And I'm like, well, Kirk is probably my next favourite just because of the matchup. There are other guys on the list. I don't want to blow that yet because you guys still got to pick them. My tight end, Cole Komet against
Oh my God.
Arizona. You know against Arizona, who have been congenitally unable to defend a tight end since 1976. I actually think I think they might have still been in St. Louis when that was the case. Anyway, 32% started, and he's not been terrific every week, but he turns up, has weeks where it's necessary. And this is a week where Arizona just struggle against the position, have done since as long as I can remember. And 32% started, I'll take it.
Bears are dead to me. That's all I've got to say.
Yep, fair enough.
But that could also help you because they could just fuck me again.
100%. Well, Komet's about to, right in the old vocal cords, mate.
But, again, I can't hate. He's our boy. He's probably going to be on the most T-shirts we sell. So, I can't hate on him. He's one of our... He's a podcast boy.
He is a podcast boy. And now I'm going to swing this back around to you, Courts, because I've taken my quarterback, I've taken a tight end, you've got your running back. Tay's got a wide receiver. So there's no pressure on you to take a wide receiver at this pick because Tay can't take one anyway. So feel free to pick from anywhere else.
Yeah, I'm just going to figure out if I want to go quarterback or tight end.
Yep.
Because, I'm just figuring out which way I want to go. I know I've sort of, one of them I've already mentioned so far, and I'm probably going to lean towards him. I'm just going to go all in on Bo Nix. Let's ride with Bo Nix. Let's do it.
Come on.
He's just been rolling. He's just been in good form. And he's so much better than Dak Prescott for whatever Tay wants to say. So give me all of the Bo Nix shares. Anyone want to sell them? I'm buying them. Baltimore, I know, not ideal, but he's just been over the last month, one of the best fantasy quarterbacks going around. And I think, what's he rostered at the moment? He started only 15%, rostered 36%. So that's way too low. I think it's going to continue to go up. And he's just trending in the right direction. So I just think coming in really confident enough of going to town on Carolina, I just think, it's going to be tough against Baltimore, but I just think he's going to, I think he gets over 20 points. I think that's my prediction.
30th against quarterback. Is it going to be tough against Baltimore?
Yeah,
maybe terms, but fantasy. I don't care about it's a fantasy podcast.
Correct. I'm down. I'm just trying to be nice to all the Baltimore fans out there. I'm all in on Bo Nix.
Fuck Baltimore.
I'm happy with that.
What do you care about Baltimore? You're a Seahawks fan.
I am. Exactly right. But yes, I'm all in on Bo Nix. Yes, go Bo Nix. Let's do it.
Is he on your list, Tay?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I've got about 8 guys. So there's probably not many people you get a chance to bring up that aren't on my list. It was a position again. I just had a lot of guys I liked in that range. So, got no issue. What was so funny, when you were looking at positions and then you said I'm going all in on Bo Nix, I thought you were in tight end. I thought you were you're going at Denver tight end. I'm like, it's going to be Adam Troutman or something. I thought you were going real deep. But I love the score. I can't hate on it, mate. Even though you're taking shots about the Dak Prescott thing, I'm not having anything against Bo Nix after the performance he put in for me in 5 different leagues last week. So, not going to hate on you for that, mate. All right, so I don't need to take a quarterback, so I'm going to go running back and tight end. I think I know I'm going to go running back, so I'll go that first. Guy that was taken by you last week, Matty C. I'm going to take one Alexander Madison at the Bengals because I think, again, he got the volume, like you said, and then he got some passing. He had the absolute worst possible matchup last week. That's the only reason I thought to bypass him. I had him on my list, but I was so worried about that Chiefs matchup first against running back. And then he goes out there and puts up 11 for 15 or something. That was all matchup to me. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Madison at this point of his career is absolutely dominant running back, but I just think he's getting the volume, and if you can get a better matchup, I think that's going to come with it. So up against the Bengals, who are 14th against the running back position, 32% started. I'm going to go with the volume and take Alexander Madison.
What he does well too is he had 5 targets, 5 receptions, which bailed him out because I think he had a yard per carry. But mate, this is one of those ones like Courtney. He's got my name in his name, because he's got Matt in there. So I kind of like him a bit. And it's got me 9 points. That's all right.
It was first on my list of running backs, so I'm glad he got there. But again, like a couple other guys, I didn't think this was that shallow compared to some other running back weeks either. So that's why I didn't go, obviously, at the first pick. All right, tight end. I've got 3 written down. There's sort of like a higher upside play, or do I go for the guy that I think's going to probably get around 10 points? It's kind of what you look for in this segment, honestly.
Yeah.
I think we know I'm just going to go my boy. I'm taking Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
No.
That's the reaction you want. I don't know what it is. The guys are walking like 6 for 60. Like I think it was 7 for 77 or something last week. Jaden Daniels trusts him, and I've talked about Cliff. I don't have to talk about Zach Ertz anymore. I brought him up this segment a lot. Cliff Kingsbury fucking trusts him in his offense, and the Giants aren't technically an amazing matchup against the tight end, the 6th, but I just think that Jaden Daniels is going to pick that defense apart.
Motherfucker.
I just think there's an opportunity there for a very decent tight end game without really having upside in terms of touchdowns and stuff like that. I just think he's going to get used enough.
Wow. I mean, Giants 5th against tight ends in terms of fantasy points, but again, it just gets a lot of targets. So we'll just see what happens there in terms of there hasn't been a week where he's had less than 5 targets since week 4. So it's a long time ago now. So get it, totally get it. And I'm just a bit sad for Courts because it sounded like he was just going to be all in on Ertz there, position solved, no worries, moving on. And now he's back to the drawing board, mate.
Yeah. I just think everything Tay said was correct. I just think he's obviously earned the trust of Jaden Daniels, and he just consistently gets targets. And it's one of those things like we talked about with Brock Bowers. He just gets points from he's just getting peppered with targets. He's just one of Daniels' favourite targets, obviously, along with Scary Terry. So, I thought I hoped he would slip a little bit.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to have to find
someone else was very close.
I know, but I'm going to have to find another tight end now. So but that's
got a bit of time, though, because, I've got a tight end, and I can't pick one in round 3 or 4. So you've got a bit of time, mate. You can go to your receiver and come back. And there's 100 receivers this week, mate.
That's okay. We'll divulge. Yeah,
you got time, mate. You got time. Say nobody's allowed to take Zach Ertz. It turns out he's just yours. That's how this segment works. I've got Courtland Sutton. You've got Zach Ertz.
Yeah, exactly. We just got our boys that are go-tos that you just know are never going to be out of this segment. Pretty much, Sutton could maybe get himself out if he went on a run of 3 or 4 straight games or something, but I don't even know what Ertz could do to be outside of 50% started at tight end. He's just going to constantly be this 5 to 7 receptions between 50 or 40 to 60 yards or whatever. He's just very trusted. I think it's the Cliff Kingsbury thing that makes me the most confident. He brought him over from Arizona. Even though they had Trey McBride, it was just all Ertz because he just trusted him so much, and then he's just brought him over.
Yeah, I can see that there's just just the way he works his offense. He wants to sort of make the most of the middle of the field. And it's not an incredibly difficult defense, the Giants. It's just no one's really tried to tear apart the middle of the field with a tight end yet. So, see what happens. How you doing there, Courts? You feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm just finding which ones are below. Okay,
yeah, all good.
I've got one. After being snaked by Taylor Zach Ertz, I'm going to go for one who was definitely on one of the 3 teams last week. I'm going for Green Bay's own Tucker Kraft, who is owned just sneaks under. He's started at 47%.
Yeah.
Only reason I didn't put him on my list is I'm worried about Malik Willis starting. But if Jordan Love does start, it's a massive steal.
Well, 2 of my 3 picks so far have been conditional that if Travis Etienne doesn't start, and now I need Jordan Love to start. So it's either going to be rocks or diamonds for my mob. Oh, yeah, risk it for the biscuit, as they all say.
I will also say that Kraft's touchdown last week was from Willis. So you never know. It actually might be better than I sort of thinking anyway. So, yeah, it could be good.
He just gets consistent targets. Obviously, he's had some boom weeks in there as well. But, he scored double digits 4 of his last 5 weeks. He had a down week against Arizona.
But
I
5
just
touchdowns
think-
in 5 games, no worries, mate. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
I'm okay with Tucker Kraft as my backup. So it's on to you, Matty C.
I've got to get a wide receiver and a running back now, and I think these are the deepest positions this week. The disappointing news is Cortland Sutton is not there. But Tay, I really thought you might have liked this one. 27th against wide receiver, increasing target share, and just kind of really had the big game last week and just really looks involved in the offense in a way that we just weren't sure where this was going to go from the start of the year. But Lad McConkey is going to be my pick here, and he starts in 45% of leagues now, so he's close to that line, and it may just be kind of the 1 week you can have him.
So he was number 1 on my list. But that's because I did my list yesterday, and then obviously the Flacco news changed everything for me with Downs. So if I didn't take Downs, I was taking McConkey.
And I had said to you too, mate, I was really surprised about the Downs pick because I thought there was one other guy. This is 100% who I thought you would have taken 150% of the time. But once you said the Flacco thing, I'm like, I get it. Because this guy just had every hallmark that Taylor loves. So I'm like, well, that's it.
And you and I both liked him in the preseason too. Like, it was actually kind of confirmation bias in a way that he had that game. And then obviously with Herbert, I love the pick. Like I said, he was number 1 on my list. It was only, like, if we'd done this yesterday, I would have taken McConkey first, I reckon.
Yeah. I also just like his name. I was describing this to, it's always fun to talk about some of the fun names in the NFL with, like, people at the office who don't follow NFL. I'm not in a very NFL leaning office, so when you start saying, I've got this name kicking around my head and I can't get it out, like, and European football's great for this, like, Cesc Fabregas can just belt around your head for 3 weeks. It's just quiet moments you find yourself saying, Cesc Fabregas? Cesc Fabregas. Lad McConkey is one of those names.
Two Arsenal fans.
Oh, mate, you're preaching to the choir there. Cesc Fabregas holds a special place in my heart. What a man.
So,
mate, and he was even better for Chelsea, so even better. Wearing the right colour and playing well. Come on. Got out of that filthy dish rag of a bullshit red jersey and got into a proper London jersey. Love it.
Turn it fucking up.
I digress to my running back. I thought this was a position where there was a couple of guys who were pretty obvious picks this week, and then one of them blew out of the segment, so I'm kind of sad about that. And that was going to be, now everyone else has got a running back. I thought Ramondre was probably the guy now that he's just eating targets, he's eating volume, and it doesn't matter if their offense is bad or not because they're playing against Tennessee, which is just the perpetual fantasy gift that keeps on giving. But he's now out of segment. He's getting started 50%. It's 56% of leagues. I'm going to go to last week's Taylor Talk and take Raheem must start. Yep. Raheem Mostert.
Do you know what's weird with that? So he's like equal second on my list. There was one other guy I didn't mind as well, but I don't know what it is. Like, the Bills on paper are an awesome matchup for running backs. But when I think of the Dolphins going to Buffalo, I think of it as a shit matchup because I just know that they get absolutely boat raced every time they go there. So it was like a mental thing with me, like, oh, okay, if you just look at the stats, the data, it says it's amazing for most of it. But then I could not stop thinking about every other time that the Dolphins have gone to the Buffalo just being destroyed. And I'm like, that just doesn't work well for most of it. And I'm like, it was so hard for me. So I was just like, I'll just take the guaranteed volume of Madison and be done. I just started doing my head in.
This is my one of actually having a bit of a shot. Yeah, I copped a bit of shit from Taylor off mic last week for just taking safe guys, no one with upside. So you know what? Fuck you. Moss said it is.
And that's pretty much the verbiage we give each other.
And I took it personally.
All right. Fuck. I've set myself up for an interesting decision here. I had an idea who I really wanted a quarterback.
Give it a sec. Courts has still got to pick his wide receiver. You're the last pick, mate. You got to wait. You wait. Be kind to our guest.
Yeah, I've got 2 wide receivers I was looking at. I'm thinking I'm going to go Keon Coleman from the Bills.
Ooh, nice. I didn't have him.
I like that. I think the Amari Cooper thing has been a bit of storm in the teacup. I think what he's brought is just more space for everybody.
Yeah.
So I love the pig.
I think Amari Cooper got fucked in the ass by getting traded 1 week too early. I think he would have been perfect with Jameis. Like, it actually sucks. Like, it went from looking awesome by him getting out of there to being awful within a week to me because, like, the problem with this Bills team is they have games like last week where they just don't need to pass at all. Like, they lead the whole way, and then they just don't need to pass. Like, they just run with Josh Allen, they run with James Cook. They just don't need to. It's like Amari Cooper's just a safety blanket for any of those games where the game script changes. Like, and then like it was horrendous with him and Watson in Cleveland. Then he leaves, and 1 week later, Watson's done for the season, and he gets and James comes in. Like, he just needed to wait out 1 fucking week. And like, as an Amari Cooper dynasty owner, as a couple of leagues, I actually traded him to Ian tonight in our fucking French guillotine league for some fab. Because I was just like, in that league, because there's only like 8 of us left now, because a person get every week. It's like a guy like Amari Cooper to me was expendable. And fab means heaps in that league. It's like if you're getting down to a final people, no one's got any fab left. If you've got any, you can basically pick up the entire team that that loses them the league. So if fab means a lot in that league, so I actually traded Amari Cooper for it. So I've got worries about this Bills team. I just don't think it's going to be consistent at all.
I just think he's trending in the right direction. I think what you said about Ladd as well, I think they've taken a while to find their feet in the NFL. Obviously, he started quite slow, but I think it's what Tate said right. Like, I think the addition of Cooper, obviously Shakir's there as well. Obviously, Josh Allen is a fucking gun. But, like, he just needs his targets are going up. Like, it's gone 4, 5, 4, 7, 7 the last 2 weeks. Don't really trust, like, Miami, very hit and miss. Like, there's another guy I was looking at as well. And I just think he's just got that explosive big game in him. And I think he's just trending in the right direction. I want to be ahead of the curve with someone like Keon Coleman, because I had Ladd on my list as well, and I was hoping that Ladd would slip. So essentially, both of you just snaked me at different times.
Yeah, that's what we did.
It's the game. Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game, mate.
No doubt.
Okay, well, I like that, and I like the process you've gone through to get to that. And this is probably my favourite bit about having the guests come on, is you get to hear the way their inner mechanics work on these things. Because Tay and I, like, hear us talk, is like, I fucking knew this was the guy you would like, because we just spend so much time together and we sort of get how each other operate. But when you get the third chair in and they bring a different perspective, it just, I really fucking love it.
I've noticed that the people that the world bring are the most, like, guys that aren't on my list and stuff. Like, I feel like Matty and I almost pick off each other's lists because, like you said, we go through a lot of the same processes, but it's actually really good to have someone else in because they seem to look outside the box a little bit more. And look, it's worked. Like, it's not like it's outside the box and it's a bad thing. Like, a lot of the people have come in and beat our asses. So, it's a really good way. And this is why bringing in a different person every week was such a good idea.
It's 100%. So, Courts, you wait, Keon Coleman blows up and scores 24 and we get to wipe eggs off our faces because he was the third wide receiver and we all walked past him twice. It'll be a nice moment for you.
My team could blow up or it could be like less than 10. Like, honestly, it's going to be disaster or I'm just going to fucking run away with it. So
we've got Benny Jones as the back marker for World. He scored 27. I think that's the lowest score we've got on the season so far. So you just want to finish above that if you're going to have a disaster, mate. Just make sure you don't take up back marker spot.
If Jordan Love doesn't play and then and Etienne does play, I could be below 27.
I think Bo Nix will get a lot of that. This is the thing. I think Bo Nix will get a lot of that. I think you got to say floor with Nix.
Oh no, I'm all good. Like, I'm good with my team. I'm sending the bad juju to Etienne, and I want Jordan Love to make a miraculous recovery.
Can I just say too, having a rushing quarterback means a lot in this comp because, like, if he gets a rushing touchdown, it's 6, whereas a passing touchdown, 4. The way it's scored.
So I just need Kirko to be throwing them where you can run them.
Yeah. So having Bo Nix could actually be a bit of a leg up. So, yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah. Him second on my list.
Now.
I love it.
Build a statue now.
That's it. The old Nix statue. I like that his whole name's just 5 letters too. How fucking efficient.
Yeah, no fucking around. Just no extra syllables.
100%. Just don't have time for this. Bo Nix. Boom.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
It gives him extra room on his business card to put, like, how make his position on there really big,
How many fucking yards and touchdowns he had last week? He puts that on his business card.
100%. All right, Tay, bring us home.
Yeah, I was good. I was kind of glad that Courtney had a pick there. It gave me time to think. And, you know, I have the chance to stack that bitch up, obviously, with Flacco and down stack. I'm gonna err on the side of caution a little bit because last week watching that Bears game and knowing that half my fucking team was in it and that offense sucked balls. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Vindy, but it kind of was frustrating to have all your eggs in one basket and it just go completely pear-shaped. So I'm going to take someone else that I really went into the segment on. You talked about having your Astro League quarterback, mate. I'm going to bring mine. I'm taking Matthew Stafford against the Seattle Seahawks. Having Puka and Cup there is just a fucking, it's honestly a cheat code for him. And Matthew Stafford is an amazing quarterback, but obviously he hasn't played like that this year because he's had none of his weapons outside of Kyron. And I think they've wanted to use Kyron on the ground, but now that all three of them are together, I think they're all weapons for him in the passing game. So, yeah, I'm just firing up Matthew Stafford. The Seahawks haven't defended the quarterback position well. They're 18th, but there's been some massive blow-up games that they've had against them. So, and honestly, I like taking Stafford because the Rams' defense is shit. So I feel like the chances of this being like a 30-on-30, I think, are massive. So
100%.
I'm not even saying that this guarantee the Rams win this game, but I just think for fantasy, I think Matthew Stafford's in for a big one.
I'm old enough to remember the Rams-Vikings from a few days ago. So, that's all I need.
Exactly.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Fucking 4 touchdowns in the first 10 minutes. It's
fucking amazing.
If that happens again, I think that could just keep happening in this game. I don't trust either defense to stop each other.
I also don't know what it would take for Stafford to leave this segment either because he doesn't run the ball.
No.
And
it's at 13% right
now. When's he ever going to break into the top 10 when you've got fellas like Stroud, who will always be started because he's got that dual threat, Kyler. So even when they have bad weeks, even if they have a bad month, people will continue staying in the flames with them. And guys like Goff and Stafford are just going to be left for dead all the time anyway. So it's kind of, he's going to be a perpetual until there's a reason for him not to be, in the way that we've been hoping Goff was that through the early part of the season because Stafford had been missing all his weapons. And I feel like Stafford's going to become one of these guys who are going to be leaning on heavy in the back half of the season here, Tay.
Yep. And then you just got Puka, who will play more snaps than last week. He'll get more integrated. Obviously, Cooper Cup, we all know about him. But, yeah, 100%. I just think Kyron could be a weapon for him too. And then you even saw, Demarcus Robinson. He apparently only comes out when, Batman and Robin are already out there. He just comes out and has 2 touchdowns because he can be the third guy. He clearly isn't a one when those guys went down. But once those guys are out there and he just finds those gaps that they're not worried about him, he's actually a good asset for him as well. So, yeah, I just think he's set up for success.
That's how I got all my yards as a receiver, mate. I was never number one.
I'm worried about everyone else.
That's it. I got the second or third corner. That's how you do it. All right, I'm going to read off these lists, these teams, because we're complete. We're done. Ta-da! Tay's team looks like this. He's got Stafford at Seattle, Alexander Madison versus the Cincinnati Bengals, Josh Downs against the Minnesota Vikings, and his boy, Zach Ertz, against the Giants. Courts, I like your team here. You got Bo Nix at Baltimore, Tank Bigsby against Philadelphia, Keon Coleman against Miami, and Tucker Kraft against the Detroit Lions. Matty C, Kirko Chains against the Dallas Cowboys, Raheem Mostert at Buffalo, Lad McConkey against the Cleveland Browns, and Cole Oh, I love that. Against the Arizona Cardinals. That's our teams. Courts, it's pretty late now. You've been through so much this week with us idiots. How you feeling?
Been great, actually. It's good sort of listen to you guys over the last couple of years. It's been great to now interact with you guys in a podcast and just talk fantasy, which Tay and I feel like we do any week anyway, or just more so just Tay giving me
and I love that.
Advice.
I love that.
Yeah, but now if we've had a bit more time to sort of break down why I'm doing certain things and why you're doing certain things and sort of bounce off each other's ideas, and then we can mutually or disagree how much we all hate Courtney Sutton, among other things, and or Dash Broker. Yeah, I know. I just had to get him in one more last time, just stab him before we fucking get out of here.
Sneak him in.
Yeah. But no, it's been great. I appreciate you guys having me on. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much for spending so much time with us, Tay. What a find, mate. Where did you find this guy?
There's been just absolute gems been brought out this year, and Courtney's just another one of those, mate. Like
100%.
Like I said, it's been awesome. He's been messaging me on the side for a while, and it's been really cool just being able to talk fantasy with him. And I feel like every year he's grown, in his fantasy knowledge, and you could even see some of the stuff he's brought tonight. Like, I don't think in a million years he thought he'd be bringing stats, onto the podcast like he has, but I think
Bo Nix, baby. Bo Nix.
Have a go at that. The Bo Nix breakdown on Friday's show was fucking stuff of magic.
But it just shows how infectious NFL fantasy is. Like, there's been a lot of people that have been in my life that have, thought, I'll get into that. I won't be too into it. And then after a year, they're like, oh, shit, I'm more into this. I'm more into it this year. And then 2 years later, it's like their fucking whole life. Like, it's just the kind of thing it is. It's just so good waking up on a Monday morning here and checking your teams and just watching all the games happen at once. And it's just so good. But I just want to say thanks so much for coming on, Courtney. You've been a massive supporter of us and listening to our show, which has been great. All the dialogue between you and I has been amazing with the fantasy stuff, mate. So thank you so much for coming on. And I can't wait to have you on again another time, mate. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Anytime, boys. Always welcome to jump on and talk some fantasy football.
Mate, if you ever want good fantasy advice, you can stop messaging Taylor and start messaging me. It'll be great. So just keep that in mind.
No, because you keep bringing up Colin Sutton. I think I've had my Colin Sutton cup full now for the next fortnight, for the next 2 years at least. Mate. Jesus Christ. I'm
offended you don't think I've got more class than that. Oh, my God.
No, you'll come out this week. Bo Nix is probably going to throw him 4 touchdown passes this week, and he's going to go gangbusters.
Courtney's calling Cortland for sure.
Yeah.
I could use a week like that in Astro League. Anyhow, fellas, I'm going to let you all go. I'm going to do the usual spiel here that you can find everything Aussie Gridiron Network at Aussie Gridiron Network's Linktree. And it is that simple. Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. It is home for the G'day Gridiron podcast, where you can find everything the boys do there. Their shows go up early in the week on about a Wednesday, and then also they've got the Saturday show wedged between our two shows as they get serious about their previews for the week. Catch up with them there. They do so many great things. Nick, Brad, Ian, they are undefeated. Fantastic. The best, hands down, the best NFL analysis show on the whole island. Also check out my boy Manjot as well. He is at Pastry Press NFL on YouTube, where he runs Aussie Gridiron Today. He's been at a flag tournament this coming weekend, the biggest flag tournament in this part of the globe. There are international flag teams coming across. There's all the greatest flag football teams from around Australia as well. So if you want a little preview of what it's going to be like to try and pick an Olympic team in a couple of years for flag football, follow what Manjot does there. You'll find all that through the Linktree, Aussie Gridiron Network, but also on his YouTube at Pastry Press NFL. You can find him in the same places. Fellas, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to go and hit the merch store and get myself a Coconut to help him drive my team along. But have a great week 9. Thank you again, Courtney. Hooroo.
Hooroo, boys. Thanks again.
Forgot to mention Colton Sutton. Shout out.
For the Aussie Gridiron Network, this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Can I give you like a trio of players?
Go. Hit me with your holy trinity. Yeah.
Aussie?
I just don't know what I'm getting myself in for with an alien fight. Whereas a zombie, I'm just like, I think I could probably back myself in. Like,
NFL?
Can I give you my big win of the week, Tay? And you're just going to be like, fucking Matty.
Look at your partner like Matty looks at Cortland Sutton.
Fantasy.
Courtney's 1 year older than me, so when we were in...
1 year younger. You're doing me dirty there.
Give me a bit of unnecessary roughness, he says.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
As Tay would say, a cock sandwich from fucking Miami.
No problem at all. Thanks for taking on my dick jokes. Yeah, I feel violated.